All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a name that has, without a doubt, defined a generation of gaming, Call of Duty. Today, we're going to break down just how this franchise went from a really bold new idea to, well, a global entertainment institution. And when I say institution, I am not kidding. To really get your head around the scale here, just look at this number. Over 400 million copies sold. That isn't just a successful video game, folks. That's a cultural phenomenon, right up there with the biggest movie franchises in history. So that brings up the big question, right? How in the world did this happen? How did a game that started out on the battlefields of World War II manage to conquer the entire entertainment world? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. Now, this whole story didn't start in some giant corporate boardroom. Nope, it began with a small, breakaway team of developers. See, they had just finished working on another popular shooter, but they felt like something was missing. They had a totally new vision, a different mission for what a war game could really be. And this was their core idea. Many of these creators came from the Medal of Honor series, and honestly, they were getting tired of that whole one-man army trope. They pictured an experience that felt more like real war, where you weren't some unstoppable hero, but just one soldier in a huge, chaotic battle, having to rely on your squad just to survive. This right here was the fundamental shift. Where Medal of Honor was all about you on your own, the original Call of Duty was built from the ground up around squad-based combat. It wasn't just some gimmick, it was a whole new design philosophy that made the game feel incredibly immersive and just completely different from anything else out there at the time. But here's the thing. The real key to Call of Duty's long-term success is that it never, ever stood still. The battlefield was always changing. Over 2 decades, the franchise basically reinvented itself multiple times, which we can really break down into 4 distinct eras. This timeline just shows you how incredibly adaptable the series has been. It kicks off in 2003 with historical battles, then completely flips the script in 2007 by jumping to the modern day. After that, it took a huge leap into futuristic combat before eventually coming full circle in 2019, getting back to its roots. Every single one of those jumps was a calculated risk that, man, it really paid off. So, Era 1, this is where the foundation was built. These games were grounded in history, focusing on those iconic World War II battles. This is where Call of Duty first earned its reputation for those intense, really cinematic single-player campaigns that made you feel like you were right in the middle of the action. To put it simply, 2007's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was the rocket fuel, shifting to a modern setting and introducing these absolute game changers like kill streaks and perks. It just created this incredibly addictive online experience that completely redefined the genre and launched the entire series into the stratosphere. Then came Era 3, and this one was all about experimentation. I mean, they just went for it. The series jumped into the future, introducing sci-fi elements, futuristic weapons, and these wild new movement systems like jetpacks and wall running. It was a really bold and, sometimes pretty divisive period for the franchise. And that brings us to where we are now. The developers really listened to fan feedback, and the series returned to a more grounded, realistic feel, with incredible graphics and more tactical gameplay. And, of course, this era saw the launch of Warzone, a massive, free-to-play battle royale that brought millions of new players into the Call of Duty world. Okay, so we've seen the what and the when, but the big question is why? Why did all of this work so well? What's the secret formula that's kept Call of Duty on top for this long? It really boils down to 4 key pillars. First, you have that signature fast-paced action that's super easy to pick up but incredibly hard to master. Second, its competitive multiplayer creates this deep, rewarding loop that keeps players hooked for years. Third, even as multiplayer got huge, they never gave up on strong cinematic storytelling. And finally, they keep the experience fresh with a constant stream of updates and a thriving esports scene. That combination is the engine that drives it all. So, where does a franchise go after conquering consoles and PCs for nearly 2 decades? Well, the mission expands again. It pushes into an entirely new frontier. That's right. The modern Call of Duty battlefield isn't just on your TV anymore. It is right there, in your pocket, accessible to billions of people. And make no mistake, this wasn't some little side project. It was a huge strategic move to bring that core experience to the largest gaming audience on the planet.
So, Call of Duty Mobile launched in 2019, and it was an absolute smash hit right from the get go. By delivering that signature fast paced multiplayer and a full scale battle royale, it effectively put the entire console experience directly into players' hands, proving the franchise's formula could work anywhere.
So we've gone from a squad-based World War II shooter to a multi-platform entertainment empire. After 2 decades of constant evolution and just unbelievable success, the final question is, what's next? What could possibly be the next mission for a franchise that has already conquered the world? I guess that's something we'll all be watching to find out.